Hello, friend, and welcome to the Limitless podcast. This is Deanna Herron, your host. Always super excited to be with you on a Tuesday. So, we are wrapping up the year of 2024. Can you even believe it's here? I don't know about you, but I'm kind of looking at Christmas and thinking, where did this come from? Like it's here all of a sudden. And, if you are an entrepreneur, which I know you are, that's why you're listening to this podcast, a business owner, this is the time of year where we're kind of wrapping up our 2024 to meet our goals and finish strong. But we're also starting to dream of the new year and what we want to create in the new year. And I want to give you some tips on how you can really make a powerful presence in 2025 through the power of persistence. So persistence is a habit, and a habit means that you can learn how to be more persistent. And what I see more and more in entrepreneurs is the reason why they're not reaching their goals, they're not finishing strong, et cetera, is because they lost the power of persistence throughout the year. And so why is that? And that's really what we're going to look at in this podcast. I'm going to give you some tips on how and why maybe you haven't held that persistence throughout the entire year and how you can develop that habit. Because when you look at successful entrepreneurs, one of the things that they all have in common is willpower, persistence. They never, ever, ever give up. Now, do they ever get discouraged? Absolutely. But they get back up and they get back in the game. So a new year, for me, I love a new year. It's like a fresh start. It's a new beginning. It's like that opportunity to start again, right? So it's like, oh, I'm so excited for this new year. One of the things that I want you to know that is invaluable is you need to look back at this last year and celebrate yourself for the things that you did. I highly recommend that. Even if you didn't actually achieve the goal you set out to achieve, there's something to be celebrated. And you need to learn to celebrate yourself, because when you celebrate yourself, that creates more confidence. And I guarantee you, even if you didn't reach the goal that you wanted to, there are things that need to be celebrated. So we look back at the last year and we need to celebrate what we did. And then, there are going to be those times too where we're like, I just want to burn it up. Like there's nothing in that year that I ever want to repeat. You just want to put it in the fire and just start completely new, right? But I want you to ask yourself, really, what is it that I really want to create in 2025? What do you want to create? What was missing in 2024? I wouldn't call it like falling short. It's a lesson. Everything is a lesson. What did you learn in 2024 that you want to adjust, kind of pivot a little bit, improve for 2025? What is it? We have to take that inventory. So it doesn't matter where you are in your goal. If you excelled beyond the goal or you didn't achieve the goal, there's always something to celebrate, and there's always something to improve on. Always, always. And if you don't take that inventory, you're going to continue to repeat patterns over and over and find yourself in the same position year after year. So the power of persistence, like I said, it's a habit. So first and foremost, I want you to take inventory of your last year. Highly recommend this, because there will be things that, like I said, you're not going to want to bring into the new year. There will be things that didn't work that you don't want to repeat. And that's something that I do every single year. And sometimes it's like, I really don't want to look at this. I really don't want to look at the patterns that I continue to repeat. But you can't make a change unless you're aware of the patterns that aren't working. And, the goal setting is so important, but there's other pieces of it as well. So you need to recognize what did work that you want to bring in and what didn't work that you don't want to repeat. So one habit that will absolutely change your results in 2025. So By now, hopefully you have a little bit of a goal in mind, a financial number, maybe a title, maybe a health goal. But without the habit of persistence, I'm telling you, the goal will not be achieved. It won't be achieved. So if you are someone who's like, yeah, I set that goal every dang year. I put it on paper, I post it everywhere, I have a dream board, etc. But I don't reach the goal. And I know of some entrepreneurs who say, I'm not setting goals anymore because I never reach it. So the question that I want to ask you is, why don't you reach it? And I'd be willing to bet is you just need to start incorporating and building a habit of willpower and persistence. Willpower and persistence. It's really the willingness to continue when you aren't seeing the results. Persistence and willpower is just never giving up, never giving in, and persisting when you're not seeing results. And I want you to really let that set with you for just a minute, because how many times do we actually look to the external world for the results because we're putting in the work? And sometimes we've been doing the work for, it seems like months and months, when it could have only been a couple of days, and we're ready for the results to come. And when we're not seeing those results, we see it as a sign that maybe this goal isn't for us, or here we go again, or all of those self-limiting tapes start playing in our mind. See, I told you you're not going to reach the goal. See, you're not worth of this goal. See, you don't know enough. See, you're not leader enough. All of those self-limiting tapes come in. But it is learning how to manage those self-limiting tapes. It's learning and understanding that you're going to experience the no's and pushing through that. It's pushing through when you're experiencing doubt and fears. It's pushing through it anyway. It's the willingness to move beyond the fear and the discomfort that we experience along the journey, and really to learn to stand very strong when you come up against opposition, because you will. And what I tell all of my clients is the goal is actually not the goal. The goal that you have set for the year is actually not the goal. The goal is the growth and evolution of yourself for a lifetime, period. Period. So when you know that the growth of you and the evolution of you is actually the goal, doesn't it make it a little bit easier that when you're not seeing the results, you understand, oh, this is the opportunity for me to grow. I'm not seeing the results, so I'm going to push through this instead of pulling back and believing that the goal is not for me. Oh, I'm experiencing no's. Oh, this is a time where I know that this is the growth and evolution of myself, so I have to push through the no's because there's a yes on the other side of this. When we have doubt, you can recognize this doubt isn't true. It's just something that has come up for me to push through and recognize this is the growth and evolution of me. And that is something that has absolutely transformed the way that I work my business. The goal is out there, but I understand in order to receive the goal, I have to become the person that can receive it. And that means I have to focus on the growth and evolution of myself. Your first test of your willpower will be when you actually write down your goals for 2025. You sit with a goal for a few minutes and you see what comes up for you. Because in that fresh year, man, we want to set a big audacious goal. And I'm not saying not to. Audacious goals are amazing. That says, hey, I'm willing to do the work to do this, and I'm trusting the process. And when we set those big audacious goals, right? But sit with the goal for a few minutes and see what comes up for you, because your mind is going to start off, excuse me, it's going to spout off. This can't be accomplished. You've never reached that goal before. You've made that much before and you lost it. What makes you think that you can make that again? How do you think you're going to do that? The hows, the whats, the doubts are all going to start coming in. That is your first test, my friend. You have to learn to calibrate your mind to what you want and call BS to the negativity. So the reason why we don't persist most of the time is because we allow that negativity to really be the focus, to really lead us, instead of us saying, hell no to the negativity. This is not true. This is not true. I'm more powerful than that. This is not true. I'm moving beyond that. This is my year. I'm moving beyond that. You will need to repeat this every time you experience an opposition. Here's an opposition. Hell no. This is not, you're not getting in my way. This is not true. Your mind is going to try and tell you that it can't happen. People are going to try and tell you that it can't happen. And that's the test for you to go, nope, this is my test. This is the test to grow me. And I'm going to persist through it. I am going to persist through it. So take inventory of your last year and ask yourself, where did I allow some excuses? Where did I allow fear to stand in my way of persistence? And once you're aware, then you can make the change. Okay. Once you're aware that you can make the change. So let's look at 5 ways that you can develop the habit of persistence. And here's what I want you to know. Developing a habit. Sometimes it's not always going to be perfect, but get back up and continue on the journey. And before you know it, you will have a strong willpower and create that persistence in your business. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. The goal is mine. So number 1, don't just set any goal. Really sit and think about it. What do you want and why? It needs to be powerful and it needs to be felt in your heart to create that persistence and that willpower. So the desire, the goal is a driver for you. And if it doesn't excite you, it's not going to drive you. And so it will be hard to have persistence and willpower if your goal actually isn't a driver for you. So I really want you to think about, what is your heart's desire? It doesn't matter what anybody else wants for you. It's your heart's desire. It's you doing the work. And you want to make sure that your heart is aligned with the work that you're going to do. It's super, super important. Number 2, and this is huge, keep commitments to yourself. This is so big. I want you to know this is so big. Don't allow excuses to get in your way. Keep commitments to yourself first and foremost, because the more you honor your commitments to yourself, the more you trust yourself, the more confidence you're going to build. And that's invaluable when it comes to reaching your goals. So don't let your excuses get in the way. If you want an excuse, I'm going to tell you, you will find one, but don't give into it. When you start thinking about, for example, today I'm going to make 10 calls, and all of a sudden you're like, man, my throat is kind of scratchy. I don't know if I'm going to sound good on the phone, whatever. And you make an excuse. You automatically say, no, I'm going to do this. I made a commitment to myself. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it. And when I'm finished doing this, then maybe I'll rest for 30 minutes because my scratchy throat hurts, whatever that is. Okay. But don't give in to the excuse. Honor those commitments to yourself. Number 3, keep your commitments to others. That's important too. It's just honoring who you made that commitment to. It's being respectful to that other person. And when you're respectful to those other people and honoring those commitments that you made, then it's easier for you to honor the commitments within yourself. But here's a tip. Don't make an appointment if you can't follow through with it. That's one of the biggest things that I have learned on my journey is I would say yes to things when inside of me, I knew this is a no. I don't have time for this on my schedule. I really don't have time. And so it doesn't work well when you know, because you're going to have to cancel later, etc. So honor those commitments. Don't say yes to something that you cannot follow through. Number 4, develop a plan to create a strong mindset, a very strong mind, so that you can move beyond the fear and the doubt. So an example would be limiting time with discouraging influences, people who discourage you. There may be friends or family that don't speak life into you. Spend more time with like-minded, goal-oriented people who elevate you, who raise you up, who give you energy. That's huge. And lastly, number 5, and I could go on and on about persistence, but I wanted to give you some that you could actually take away and start incorporating today. Number 5, release the fear of being criticized. I'm going to tell you, this stops so many people in their tracks. And I I'm totally with you on it, completely with you on it, because one of my big fears is a fear of being criticized, a fear of not being liked, a fear of feeling stupid. That is a very, very big fear of mine. I've had to move beyond that. I recognize that I'm very knowledgeable in so many different areas. I recognize that if someone criticizes me, that says more about them than it does about me. And I've moved beyond that place. So you have to understand that a critical, judgmental person is critical and judgmental because that's actually how they deal with themselves. So don't fear criticism, my friend, because it really doesn't mean anything about you unless you allow it to mean something about you. So when you release that fear and you're able to fully stand in your greatness and walk towards that goal, run towards that goal, you're going to grow. You're going to grow exponentially. And the truth be told is, as you grow, some people will not want to grow with you, and that is okay. Remember, your job here on earth is the growth and the evolution of yourself. Period. The growth and evolution of yourself. So persistence, willpower, it's a habit. Make it a goal in 2025 to create that habit. You can implement this today. And by the time February comes around, you are going to have a solid foundation on persistence. It typically takes anywhere from 66 to 90 days to create a habit. You've got this. You can do this. Let's make 2025 the best year because you have that goal, that desire in your heart, backed by persistence, and you will be unstoppable. Can't wait to hear your results. God bless you. See you next Tuesday.